Are we live?
All right.
Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Journey to Bliss. And I knew it was going to be an echo trying to come through. Hold on.
Maybe turn it down a bit.
It's always something. Okay. Do you hear echo now?
No, I wasn't hearing an echo.
Oh, you wasn't? Oh, okay. Well, then that's good. All right. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's see. Um, Testing one, two, three. No echo, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you very well.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, let me get there's one more platform I want to get active, and we are going to be ready to go. All right, this is the last one. Sacral Chakra. There we go. All right. All right. Now, back to the drawing board, right? Welcome, welcome. As many of you know, I am Miss Bliss. Welcome to Journey to Bliss. And we have here this evening Catherine Davis, who's a Qigong practitioner. And also, you're still on WBAI radio, right? Okay.
Yeah, heart of mind.
Heart of Mind,
Name.
WBAI
Yeah.
radio.
hmm
Awesome, awesome. And tonight we will be discussing the sacral chakra. If you look at one of our previous videos, you will see that we were communicating to you about the root chakra and how it operates, where it's located, and then we recommended a few things in connection to healing the root chakra. Welcome, 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 Mrs. Tate. Greetings, greetings, greetings. I've been working on my root chakra, so looking forward to the show. Okay, you've been working well. You had a couple of weeks because the last show was, what is this, April? I think the last show was in March. So you've had a couple of weeks now to like, do some work. So the show after this we'll do on the next chakra, and it'll probably a couple of weeks. So you'll have even more time to work on that. Peace and blessings. Love is light beings. Oh, okay. I need to set a goal to work on my chakra healing. Yes, you know what? With this, take your time because I'm honestly going to say working on your chakras and healing and on that journey is not always an easy process depending on the person and their childhood and what their life was like. So take your time, do your research, figure out how you want to approach this healing and move forward from there. So that's what I suggest. Let's see here. Oh, let's get the advertisement. So we have a Health Matters in Harlem. This is an event on Sunday, April 28th, and you can come and learn about yoga, nutrition, the benefits of massage, and reflexology. There'll be a number of speakers and presenters there. This is free. That's right. You don't find many things on here free today, right? So this is free. You don't have to pay for it. So come out, enjoy yourself, socialize with some like-minded brothers and sisters, and get your education in regards to like health and wellness. That's in Harlem. We have another event here now. This is the New York City Small Business Resource Fair. It's going to be coming through April to May, and it's in various locations throughout New York City. If you are into business and you have your own business and you're looking to connect and grow in regards to like managing your business or your resources, then I definitely suggest you check out some of these small business fairs that are from 9 to 1 and throughout New York City, including Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. So there you go. We have another one here. This is Africa and the Diaspora. This event, we have a lot of time. It's scheduled in July of this year. It's a Global Leadership Investment Summit and Awards. So if you're into global leadership investment summits and awards, then yeah, it's about business. So it's global investments. And a lot of it is investments in Africa. So if you're interested in knowing more about doing business in Africa or investing in Africa, we have a lot of the brothers and sisters who are traveling out there to Africa now, who are looking at ideas and creativity in connection to the motherland of Africa. So yeah. We have a Mother's Day extravaganza, which is in May, and you have a lot of time for this because next month is. So it's going to be at Restoration Plaza in Brooklyn, New York. If you have been there before, then you know this area and you know what I'm talking about. It would be entertainment, fashion, and dancing. So anyone who is into that type of stuff, then yeah, you just want to go have some fun, chill with the family, and just chill, just have a good time. So we have here, this is simply an announcement, brothers and sisters. Affordable Housing Lottery opens for 60 Cedar Street building in Bushwick, Brooklyn. This is an 18-story mixed-use property with, I spelled that wrong, with 145 units. It has a gym, a laundry, and terrace space. Now, let me say something. This building has 145 units. Out of the 145 units, they're required by law to do some type of lottery where they can take in some people at low income housing, which means that you're not going to be paying the average rent for that unit in that property. You would be under a different rule or regulation where it would require you to pay a lesser amount of rent, and then it would be accommodated on another end, like taxes or however that particular builder has received those benefits. So I have lived in these type of properties before, but nothing as luxurious as this one, which has a gym, a laundry room, and it has like these beautiful terraces. And actually, it's Bushwick. So Bushwick is not too bad of an area. I think it's kind of like Bushwick is kind of like a up and coming area. It is going through a lot of gentrification, just like Bed-Stuy and a lot of the areas. So for me, I recommend people set a goal to owning your own, because all it's going to do is the rents are going to keep going up and up and up and up and up. So at some point, I think it's a good idea, even if you just invest in a home out of the city where you can kind of have like, travel and go there for the weekends or whatever. So I definitely recommend that. But low income housing is available. Let's do Tanisha. Shout out to Tanisha, who and her creativity. She is definitely in her sacral chakra, creating all of that jewelry. She creates also clothing. She does clothing design. She does like jewelry that goes on the head. She's been doing designs on sneakers. I mean, she's totally into her creativity. Let me advertise my tea.
When you smile, I'm enchanted. When you kiss me, I can't stand it. I'm in paradise. Your touch is just like satin. Girl, you make my whole life happen. When I look into your eyes.
That sounds like a Valentine's Day song. Okay, all right. Oh, hey guys, what's up? How you doing? Corius Hollis, Hotep, Hotep, peace and blessings. We have here, hey Shaka, how are you? Peace and blessings, Shaka. Shaka from Dominican Republic. Shaka, habla español un poquito, pero no mucho. Good to see you guys. So as you know, we will be talking about the sacral chakra, which is the second chakra that is right below the navel, right below like the belly button. And the color that most people affiliate this chakra with is the color orange. Most people say this chakra is connected to creativity, your creative passion, sexuality, how you express it, connected to your personal power, money, manifestation, digestion, your stomach, your intestines, because it's located around that area with those organs, your self-worth, how you perceive yourself, your pleasure, your sensuality. So that's the chakra we're going to start talking about. And Captain, do you want to share anything about this chakra?
Well, I guess I would have to share it from the perspective of Qigong because I don't do yoga. And that particular point corresponds to what would be referred to as the lower dantian. And that is the field of energy that connects you to the primordial chi. So in Qigong, it's considered that we are formed by the energy of our mother, our father, the earth, and the cosmos. And we are, oh, now I am hearing feedback. We are in the womb, growing in that energy. And as we grow from a fetus into a baby, all that energy ends up inside that sacral chakra or lower dantian. So it's kind of the energy that collectively forms and nourishes our body. And it's a way of connecting to sort of the being that we were before we were born, is how I would describe it. So when our spirit, our soul comes into the birth process, that which we came from is what we hold in that chakra.
So it's not really like past life. It's kind of like out of this world,
It's
kind of.
it's pre-birth. So if you think about it, how does our body know how to grow from an egg and a sperm into a baby? So all of the design and the instructions come out of that energy of the primordial chi. So how does a heart know how to grow? How does the liver know how to grow? Does your brain know how to grow into all these different things? It's the blueprint of how we become human from the realm before human. So there's a way in which you could think of it as when we work with that part of our body, that part of our energy field, it's like a resource. So that if we have a strong sacral or dantian, then our cells are less inclined to go wrong because they can dip back into the primary information that can re-educate your system to replicate itself closer to what you would have been at birth. So it's very much connected to your well-being as a physical person,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also connected to who you were before you became a physical person. So whether or not you believe in past lives or not, it doesn't matter. You know, we kind of come in with a plan, with a mission, with a blueprint, with certain creativities, whatever we inherit
Mm-hmm.
from our parents. And so a lot of our creativity is there because that's what the inheritance. So if your mother could sing, maybe you can sing. If your
Mm-hmm.
father was a scientist, maybe you're going to be a scientist. So it represents your potentials.
And this is in connection to Taoism, right? That.
Taoism, traditional Chinese medicine, Qigong, it comes out of the understanding of that worldview. So it's not very different from yoga in the sense that, you know, it's connected to the glandular system because it's going to be connected to the womb in a manner of speaking, because it's where the womb, you know, where it's in the area that women would carry babies,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also the area that helps us to rebirth ourselves.
Yes. So it's so funny you say that. So I was listening to another woman and she was speaking on, oh, let me say, hey, Pernue, what's up? I meant to say, there's Pernue, Catherine, saying hi to us.
Oh, hi, Pernue.
Shaka, Catherine is a true oracle. Thank you so much, Shaka. I appreciate you. So grateful. So grateful. Yeah, so this woman, she was saying from a perspective that, and I don't know if you've heard this in Taoism. So when the child is in the mother's womb, at some point, because it's close to the sacral chakra, the child can take on some of the mother's trauma. And the child, when it grows up, needs to heal, but it's the kind of healing where you could say, like, what was your mom going through when she had you? You know, what was she experiencing? And so I know about childhood trauma, but it never dawned on me that it could be stored or coming from that particular area. But it makes sense because the child is so close to that particular chakra. And so she said this chakra is the sort of considered the death and rebirth chakra, because in order to sort of, at times when we're trying to create or manifest something, we have to like get rid of something and to manifest something else. And we could be getting rid of something that's like a bad habit, negative thoughts, even to the point of getting rid of people in our lives so that it clears space and clears energy for us to receive what we need to receive. And I was like, this is so interesting. So I don't know if that connects with
Yeah,
Taoism.
that resonates. It resonates with my understanding of it because, like I was saying, that's the energy that our body develops. So we turn into a baby, but we also our brain develops, our emotions develop, and so, but it's not just the mother, it's the energy of the mother and the father, the earth and the cosmos. So it's all four. So depending on the balance, we should end up pretty much in good shape. But if you have a mother who is in trauma, then that's going to overpower some of the other influences. Or if you have
Mm-hmm.
a father who is in trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and then so when you're wanting to heal yourself, you know, that's the energy that you're working with. So it's sometimes, in order to heal yourself, you have to heal your parents.
Oh,
Not in the real world,
right.
but in that part of them that's inside of you.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Because
Gotcha. Gotcha.
very often we don't understand that the problems we have, at least not initially anyway, we didn't start it. It might have been started several generations ago.
Thus the generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Lord knows I know too many people that got these generational curses that are trying to heal. So I learned um so people who are when they're younger, they're neglected or abused and they're young and they're taught to avoid their sensual power and maybe they become uncomfortable with themselves, not comfortable with their looks, their hair, their skin, the way they communicate, or in the end the child grows up feeling like they can't claim their sensuality, when it comes to their sexuality. They have these relationships that are not healthy for them and they stay in those relationships. So they're not encouraged to explore anything in terms of sensuality or sexuality, in terms of like feeling safe in that area. But is that anything, does Taoism discuss anything in terms of sensuality, sexuality in connection to the sacral, or is it like not really part of it or play a role?
No, I think it plays a role. I just think maybe, it depends on what school you kind of grow up in. And my understanding, it's more difficult for me to isolate each point, each chakra, because I always see the interconnections. So if a person has
Mm.
problem with their relationships or with their sexuality, they may not be living in that chakra. What happens is
Mm.
very often people live in their head. So they're living up here and they're not actually living inside of the chakra or the energy. So they need something more. They need mental stimulation in order to become sexually aroused.
Yes, yes, yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know some people
Hmm.
that are kind of experiencing that.
I mean,
That's
and it's
interesting.
okay, but the idea is like even if that's what a person feels called to do, the idea is to don't keep it in the head, but breathe with your belly. You know,
Mm,
breathe with your belly or move the lower body, engage the area in whatever else that you're engaging in, whether it's your imagination or if it's
mm.
pictures or if it's a movie, whatever it is. You have to engage the physical body in order to be able to really get comfortable with the actual physicality of it. And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and part of the problem is that we grow up in cultures that make that a taboo.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
You know, so people, young children, will be shamed for their natural curiosity, and they feel like it's bad and wrong.
Right. Yeah.
So my sense is to kind of gradually work with it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
think that some people probably are super engaged with the lower chakras and disconnected from the heart, so they can't actually have the emotion, and it's all about the physical response. So
That's all.
that's not really a holistic response. And that's why I say it's hard for me to isolate each one
Mm-hmm.
because they're interconnected. So
Mm-hmm.
so if you're dealing with that chakra, you want to experience it through the heart, experience it through the throat, experience it through the mind, and play with it that way so that you
Mm.
isolated in one genre so that you become a more interconnected person. And there's a way in which that disconnect is why people don't have orgasms or really full expression because they're disconnected energetically on the inside. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a little bit like you were talking about the Tantra. I don't do Tantra, but I understand Kundalini. And it builds from the bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're
Yeah.
cut off at any point, you're going to have distortions.
Yes. 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 Yeah. And it's so funny because we had an experience where someone experienced, and I was, talking to you about this in Tantra. The brother I was working on, he experienced the elixir. And so, the people in the group were, trying to define the difference between Kundalini and the elixir, and do they go together and how they go hand in hand. And then at that point, you also have to discuss the chakras, the responsibility, so it's kind of like, it's not something you can really, provide an answer for in like a couple of minutes. It's, to me, it seems like more like something people should be studying. Like, we should be studying the chakra. We should be studying Kundalini. We should be studying this liquid elixir that comes down, so that we would have more insight as to how these things work and how they function. And shout out to Master Yao. He did advise to me, once this happened, I reached out to him and I was like, this is going on, with this brother that I'm working with. And he was like, all of them should be working hard to experience the orgasm, the Kundalini, decrease those enlightenment and growth. And it's so many of our people that are experiencing blockages in so many areas. And to me, it's either, down here, the three lower chakras, or they're all up here in the three highest chakras. I rarely find, and I work mostly with the brothers, where there's like some type of balance. It's I don't even know how to describe what's going on in our community. But you just looking to heal them. Chakra.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the generational stuff is big in our community.
Mm-hmm. Generation after generation after generation, healing. So wait, hold, chakra. You said the sacral chakra is a gateway to life in the third dimension. I do not know. I'm going to let Catherine answer that question for you.
Well, it certainly makes sense to me because it's
Mm-hmm.
connected to the and coming into life. So it does make sense. But what that suggests is that everyone is a gateway to a different to another level of dimension.
Which is so funny, because when we were talking about the Christos, the elixir, the sacred elixir, and the Kundalini, we were talking about traveling in dimensions and the gateways. Guys, we got to do a show on that. That's a whole separate show. I'm not trying to go into it right now, because when you hear what's going on, you're gonna be like Pernue. Whoa. Oh, yes, whoa, Pernue. Exactly. So we have a question here. Is the root chakra connected to the sacral chakra in any way or form?
They're all connected as far as I can understand them. Because, I mean, if you think about the chakras, I know they each have different shapes, flowering kinds of shapes. Though, I couldn't tell you for sure which was which. But you could also think of it as a field. That's how I regard the Dantian. So in Qigong, Dantian means elixir field. That's what it means. And so the dantians are bigger than the chakras. So the middle dantian, which is in the center of the heart, is going to incorporate some of the solar plexus and some of the throat. So it's like circles, like a linking chain energetically. And so, and that's kind of what connects the Kundalini. So you think of, you know how that symbol, I forget what it's called, that they have for doctors, where there's like a shaft and then there's the two snakes going up?
Yes. Yes.
That's kind of how they work.
Gotcha.
So one is one, you know, they're interconnected, and they represent the path to that golden elixir. And they re- and they
Wow.
re- and so the idea is to resolve any blockages you might have in any part of your system, or to heal the wounds so that you can continue. You know, because sometimes, you know, you start at the top, at the bottom, and then you got to work your way in. Sometimes you start at the bottom, you work your way out. So you kind of get to know yourself. Where do you find those strengths? You know, and where is the weakness? Where is the anger or the fear? To me, anger and fear are almost the same thing. Because as a child, if you find yourself fearful, as an adult, there's a very high probability that you're going to be angry. Even a child will get angry. But, you know, I'm just saying that the lower body holds all the sticky stuff, the earthly stuff. So to have it's important to have a good relationship with your world. I
That makes
believe
sense.
I believe that in a lot of ways we create our world. So if your world is kind of off center, that means something inside of you is also off center.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, Brad, you're welcome. Brad said, I appreciate you teaching this because it's much needed.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and I just think too, it's like when we're working with, and this is, I can't say that I read it, I more intuited, but that part of us, that portal into the world, is where our inner child is hiding out. You know, it's where the child reaches a point where the world doesn't feel safe anymore. And then everything built on top of that is a construct to make you feel safe.
Yes.
And so it's important, I think, to work with the chakra, the sacral chakra, or what I would think of as the lower dantian, to nourish the inner child. You know, it's like looking for the things that you might remember about yourself when you were younger, for clues to where you're being guided now. And to begin to, like, for instance, sometimes we have voices. I have voices in my head. You know, maybe I'm telling on myself, but I have voices. And I start to, or our feelings will come up. And that's also
Right.
coming from the body. So instead of going with the feeling, I'll trace back in and ask myself, well, where did that come from? And, you know, and or I'll, if it's more than I know how to deal with it any moment, that's when I go into the belly breathing. And belly breathing isn't just the belly, it's also the back. So you want your lower abdomen to open on both sides with your breath.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
like, and then, it starts to pulse more, and that's going to activate a lot of things for you by just engaging with the breath and that part of your body. And then it's a way of working through it. So in the same token, there may be people who were abused, not just hurt because their parents were wounded, but might have really been abused. And when they try to do those kind of exercises, they're going to enter into a panic state and not know why.
Mm.
So, I mean, if anyone is, I'm bringing it up because if anybody is doing it and they're feeling that, what's going to happen is the upper body is going to clench, the breath is going to get really short, and they'll start having panic attacks. And so, rather than just breathing, pulsating the belly, you would use your navel like it was your mouth and just inhale through the navel and you visualize the air coming up, and that helps to get the lungs to open up to relieve some of that sense of panic.
Mm. Wow. That's very interesting. It's just amazing what breath can do when you're looking to heal yourself on so many different levels, you know? I
Hmm.
mean, we have so many different uh skill sets and techniques out here for us to learn. And there's, to me, sometimes I will be honest, I'm like, there's no excuse for not healing. There's just like, we have in a lot of this stuff, it doesn't cost you anything to breathe. You know, you could be doing yoga, you could do qigong, like you could just walk, you could get connected to the planet. It's like, I think sometimes I feel like sometimes people just enjoy being toxic. It's just so much easier to just be a bitch, you know, and people just ride along with that energy as opposed to seeking, some type of healing and addressing your issues so that you could level up spiritually, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and as a community come together. But it was so funny. I was listening to a guy who said that he went to China to do a drug deal, right? He's selling drugs. Yeah, he's selling drugs. And he went to China. He's a heavy hitter in the game. And he goes to the Chinese, and the Chinese is saying, everybody admire Black people. Everybody's following Black people. Everybody, wants to be like Black people, copying our dancing, our music, even to the point of getting injections in the lips and getting implants in the body to sort of be like Black people. And then the Chinese man was saying, you guys are so easy to divide and conquer. You're not organized. And I thought about that, and I was like, it goes back to us not wanting to do the work, like breath exercises, qigong, yoga, adjusting your diet, adjusting the way your perspective about things and how you see things. It's just, oh, your daughter needs this. Yes, yes, yes. That, please share with your daughter. Please share with your daughter. We will be doing the other chakras as we move along, and then we will be talking about the sacred elixir, and we'll be communicating about the kundalini. So all of this is connected, but you just gotta hang in there with us as we keep on doing the shows one after another. But yeah, so I want to say, so when someone's sacral chakra is blocked or imbalanced, so some people say like you feel like you're not enough, or maybe you don't have ideas, and you maintain these toxic relationship. You don't feel creative. You have an unhealthy self-image of yourself, or even at times some people may experience low energy or struggling with even being intimate with others. And in the physical part, some people have sort of digestive problems or back pain, and emotionally they may feel like everyone's hurting them. They're always hurt. It's sort of like playing like victim. And so some people say they struggle with addictions or obsessions, obsessed with things, obsessed with people, have muscle cramps or sciatica, scarcity mindset. It's always it's not enough out here. It's not enough out here for everyone. Prostate issues, womb issues. Like I've heard all of this stuff, and it may or may not be some people's experience. And I think we're all different. But in Taoism, have you ever heard like if it's blocked or unbalanced, like what do they connect it with when they're diagnosing someone or when they're looking at someone? Do they look at all of those factors?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. It's connected to the organs in the lower body. So it's going to have an impact, or it will be connected with your emotions, which then have an impact. So if you're like a worrier or, a fearful person or a worrying person, you could be someone who's going to end up with hypertension. So it sort of pushes the dominoes of how you might become ill or how your life might play itself out. Like a person who has wounding or blocking in the sacral area might end up being someone who is violent and maybe prone to crime or being put into prison because they're trapped in kind of a different kind of survival mode. It's about, let me get mine, let me get what I need. I have to look out for number one. I have to look out for me. And not that there's anything wrong with that. We all need that. But you need the balance. You have the masculine is I got to look out for me. I have to look out for me and mine. The feminine, more feminine perspective is you can be a nurturer, and sometimes you could be an over nurturer to the point that you find yourself in abusive relationships because you feel like you can't give up on people and you can't judge people. You have to save people. So we need both. We need the part of ourselves that is going to take care of ourselves, but we also need the nurturing part. And what adults forget is both sides on both sides of that coin, that they have to take care of themselves, but they also have to nurture themselves. The nurturing shouldn't always be projected outward. It has to also be, what do I need to really nurture my life, to heal myself? So if you're missing that part, or if that part is somewhat distorted, you're not going to do the right thing. You're not going to buy the right food. You're not going to exercise because you're not nurturing yourself.
Hmm.
So,
Wow.
so
Wow.
the so the idea is, as you learn about it, you start to think about, well, what's missing in my construct? What do I need to fix? So if you're in a situation where you're attached to being a nurturer, then but you always feel like you're not being, loved and nurtured,
Mm-hmm.
that's a sign that you probably can't have a relationship with anyone until you learn to nurture yourself.
Mm.
Or at least until you start to balancing the self-nurturing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because and it becomes kind of a fail-safe in the sense that it means that you're not going to allow people to take advantage of you, or to, always be on the taking side and never being on the giving side. We shouldn't tolerate that kind of um, relationship. And the truth is that we usually know at the very beginning, but we make excuses and we're like, Oh, it'll work out, things will change, we'll love each other. But you can't escape from that lack of self nurturing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's part of what's coming out of that region of your body. It's just like um, your fetus growing into a baby. There's a lot of natural nurturing that goes along there. The baby doesn't have to think about very much. It just grows and you feed it through your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to keep doing that as we get older. And if we're not doing that, then it could help us recognize that it's a real thing and that we're not just bad people,
Right. Wow.
that something inside of me needs to be filled, but I'm the only one that can feel it. I think is what we need to understand about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we start to nurture ourselves in our life, you starting small, eat an apple a day, whatever it is, um, then you incrementally begin to feel safer. You don't
Mm-hmm.
keep manifesting that frightened child. The child You become the parent to the inner child by feeding it what it needs in order to thrive. And as we're doing that, um, it eventually merges with the rest of us, and we just go along through life being doing right by ourselves.
Right.
And it's a
Right.
struggle that everyone has to some degree because this is Earth after all. if if you don't have something wrong with you, then you're an alien because this place is messed up.
Tell me about it.
And I
So
don't
many
even
life
think
lessons.
and I don't even think an alien would last very long. It's why we don't see them because they're like, no way, no way. I saw a cartoon. It was so funny. It was a spaceship, and these two little guys, they look like two little green men, get out of the spaceship, and they look at this statue, and they see a statue of a cross with Jesus on it, right? And they say, "Who's that?" "That's our God." "You crucified your God? We're getting out of here."
Oh my God. Like some of the things that we entertain here on earth in this lifetime is just unbelievable. And what is it called? Is it cognitive dissonance or is it Stockholm
Hmm.
syndrome? Like when we refuse to acknowledge the nuttiness that has been presented with evidence in front of our faces to say, okay, here's the real education. Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to learn. And we'll just like block, 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 block. You know?
I know, and it's like it's the programming. We get programmed into all these systems, and then we judge ourselves by the programs, and it doesn't have anything to do with whom we actually are or who we actually are. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We judge ourselves and we judge other people based on these programs too.
Mhm.
Whether you're worthy or not. And who do you think you like? I tell you, boy, we need so much healing on so many different levels that I can't even begin to just explain it in one sentence.
Yeah.
So when we
It's
when we
it's a
look
trip.
at, mhm,
Mhm.
I was going to say when we look at a healthy sacral chakra, at someone at least who is operating from something that's considered a healthy sacral chakra, these type of people, they're more, I would say they're more comfortable with, or it appears to be that they may be able to manifest things easier than like the average person, or that they have all this confidence and they feel good about themselves, and that it appears as if they're having these healthier relationships, and they're more creative and more inventive, and hopefully behind the scenes they have a healthy sex life. But we don't see that part. But the part that we do see it seems like they have a enjoyment about life, and that they seem to be motivated about things in life, and that they're in touch, if they're a woman, with her masculine, feminine, and then also if it's a man, he's also in touch, and they present this sort of like balance when you're looking at them, and so I think sometimes we never really know what's going on with the person unless we're around them all the time, 24/7. And so when we look on the outside, it appears as if when you're in terms of the sacral chakra, that they seem to have it all together. But then when you think about all the other chakras, you know,
Yeah, that is true. And there's no way to know. We can't really tell by looking at a person, even if we're living with them. Um, but yeah, my sense though is that to think of it in isolation is a way of getting into difficulty, because you're talking about um, birthing, self-birthing, renewing, healing. But in order for that to happen, we can't stay in the pot of stew, as it were. We have to reach deeper than that. So from my vantage point, in order to have a healthy sacral, you have to have a healthy root. You have to be grounded.
grounding.
So
That makes sense.
yeah, so if the sacral, if you're feeling kind of not knowing who you really are in a way, you might need to go back down to the root, go back down into the earth, really connect and be with the earth. And that usually helps us to ground. And then we can open up into, remembering who we were as babies or children, and, and beginning to awaken the qualities of curiosity and creativity and play. How many of us actually remember how to play? So that's what I mean. So it isn't that I don't think anybody is perfect. I don't think anybody has everything in balance, and certainly not all the time. But to rather think of it is that I think the key is to begin to recognize when you're not in balance, and and turn your attention to how to bring balance rather than allowing the imbalance to motivate you to take actions that would be unhealthy for you, for your family, for your life.
Mm, I agree. I
Hmm.
agree. Um, so when I was looking into this, I also heard some people speak about the sacral chakra kind of being connected to planet. And this particular planet was Venus. And so it goes into the planet Venus is about love. It presents a certain context in regards to beauty and femininity and your senses. Anything and anyone that is considered beautiful, like natural beauty, personal beauty, internal beauty, artistic beauty, I guess. And it also presents like romance and the ability to sort of to receive and to cooperate, to be more receptive. And then some people say the sacral chakra is connected more. It is the chakra that's more connected to water, the water element. And it's so funny because in Tantra, we work with the water element because it's the sexual energy, it's the orgasmic energy. So I could see that. But then I've heard people say the fire element, with the heat, and I guess I guess together it's like the steam, which when you always hear about a steamy relationship, so it kind of makes sense. And then some people say it is also connected to like guilt, which presents blockages for us, along with like the scarcity mindset, which is all on the levels of like blockages when we're working with this particular chakra. So I don't know, in Taoism, do they connect it to an element or a planet or maybe a plant or something like that?
I don't know about a planet, but I do know that that region of the body is connected to water, and to the kidneys, which is water, the bladder, which is water. All of that is kind of the region, because we start out in water.
Mm-hmm. In womb.
So we start out in water. So it is relative to that, I would say. But it also kind of connects to the flow in things. A fetus has a process which you could think of as a flow to a baby state, to a birth, being birthed. There's a flow in that. So if you have some rigidity there, you might not have that flow in your life. You might be over tense, too dry.
Mm. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's so funny because when you said it's connected to water and water is connected to the kidney, in Tantra, the organ that we mostly have to pay attention to when we're in this business is the kidney. So it's so funny. So that's why when you do the qigong with the kidney, I'll be in
Yeah, it
there.
matters.
Wow.
It really matters. So yeah, so it's important. And I think that, as people get sick and have issues, you can sort of understand where you need to do the work. I think what happens too often is that we regard our physical body as being so separate from everything else. And I think we need to go to doctors when you reach a point that you need to go to a doctor. But I think what happens is that people ignore for too long, and that's how they end up really sick and having to go to a doctor. But if they're paying attention to the little signs, like the lower back pain could be a sign that you
Mm-hmm.
need to take care of your kidneys,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or that you want to find out where the psychological, emotional distortions are. I call them distortions. It could be a blockage, it could be a distortion. But it's just a natural occurrence of life, and we just want to try to fix it. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you have a drain and all the leaves fall and plug the drain, then the water turns into a flood. All you have to do is go out and, clean the drain, or the gutters
Mm-hmm.
on your house. You have to clean the gutters so that the water will flow naturally. And that's what if we build that into our lifestyle, let's say, you know, fast a couple of days every month, or meditate every day, or a couple of times a week. So you do incrementally to try to get yourself there, but to focus on that part of your body, um, kind of looking with how you're functioning in the world, and allow your own inner wisdom to guide you to a point, up to a
Mm-hmm.
point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on
Mhm.
that. In our chakras, and as well as in other parts of our body, I know when I was with Master Yao and there was a young lady, we were watching the brother work on her, and she began to have pain in her arm. And Master Yao said to her that it's a blockage there. So automatically people assume that the blockages can be only in the chakras, but the blockages could be like anywhere in your physical body. And so we store emotions in our body. And it's traumatic emotions or, a negative experience. And it can be stored in our chakras or anywhere else. And one of the things that I find that help us with getting this energy of trauma that's stored in our body, getting it moving and getting it broken up and dissolved to leave our bodies, one of the biggest things I find is movement and touch. So there are other ways to release this trauma, these bad memories, these negative emotions that are stored everywhere within our bodies that affect us in so many different ways. Because the reason I say movement and touch is because our bodies have a lot of fluid or liquid or water within it. And when something's like there, it's sort of like stagnant. It's like kind of like when you think of like you hear about like a cyst or a fibroid, like these lumps or something. And you can kind of like, if you're dealing with movement in your body, you can kind of cause these stagnant areas to kind of break up and become clear. And when you're receiving a massage, you're receiving the touch and someone's assisting you with releasing and moving that around in your body. So I just wanted to say, I guess Qigong also plays a part because you're doing the breath, and the breath, when you breathe, sometimes when I'm breathing, I kid you not, it feels like the breath is traveling through my body. Like sometimes I could feel like vibrations, and I'm like, I know I have blood and muscles and stuff, but sometimes it feels like I can literally make it travel to certain areas of my body as I focus on those areas.
Absolutely. I feel that all the time. And like you said, it's, for me, my understanding is that it's vibrational. And touch is very vibrational, but so is sound. That's why we can relax with music. Maybe having a Tibetan bell or a gong, or there are a lot of ways that different people are going to be attracted to different things. But it's a question of becoming acquainted with ourselves at the sub-physical level, so that, like you said, you begin to connect with the vibration.
Yes, 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 yes. Could you explain to the family what do you mean by sub-physical level? Because
Okay,
this
so,
is, yeah.
well, if you think about the construction of our body, at the small level, everything is made out of an atom. And at that atomic level, everything is vibrational. There are pulses. So one atom will be attracted to another atom, and that's a vibrational kind of a match, kind of a connection. And then those atoms come together to build a cell, and those cells come together to build an organ, and then all together we end up with a whole body. But at the base of it is that atom, which is a force that's moving. So even though we look physical and it seems very tangible, at the atomic level we're moving. So part of what makes us get blockages is when that movement gets shut down. And that's why our cells die, because it's not moving.
Wow. It's so funny. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what we learn in Tantra. We learn about like the cell body, the energetic body, the light body. So it's like they call them all these different bodies, that are in different various locations within us. But it's like you said, the cell body is the actual body. And when you break it down, it expands within us to our skin and our hands and everything. And when it starts to malfunction or act up or whatever, you'll find that, like, so the best example I can think of about are people who sit at the desk all day, and they're not moving, and they're normally the people who would have problems with their back, or, because they're sitting down so much. They're sitting down all the time. They're not walking around and stretching. But then at the same time, someone who's on their feet all day, like a beauticianist or a person who works in a store, they would have different problems than a person who's sitting down. So it's like we need to present some sort of balance, because I don't think years and years and years ago we had these type of lifestyles that we have right now. And I think the more we entertain this idea that we need to put ourselves in these positions, the sicker we're getting. The sicker we're getting. We're not taking time to do self-care or self-nurturing. It's just work, 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 depending on what type of job you had. So that's that, the stagnation and the stiffness of the body on top of all the stress and everything else.
That's right. I mean, back in the day, people walked everywhere. People worked on farms, or, people still have those kinds of jobs, but for the most part, no. And just in the natural course of your life, people just moved more. And now, because of the confines of what we're living in, we don't move as much. But it's not entirely our fault, because the system that governs this country, this planet, is all about a kind of exploitation. You can't, get up from your desk. You don't have time to, because there's so much overwhelming work arriving on your desk that at the end of the day, you're just exhausted. And so after a point, we have to make choices about what kind of life we want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be that you change your job, but maybe you walk a few stops before you get on the train.
Mm-hmm.
Or walk a few blocks coming home before you get on the train. But in the morning, it might be easier. You have more energy, hopefully. But then the walking and the moving also relieves the stress.
Right.
I can remember a while back, I was working in an office space. And I remember it was around the time when they started making cigarettes illegal to smoke inside. And I noticed that smokers got to go outside 2 and 3 times a day. And I thought that was really interesting. So I started taking air breaks. I said, if they can go out and smoke, I can go out and breathe, right?
Yes.
So we make little adjustments like that, or get a bicycle, or even get a bicycle in the house. It's just a matter of taking those incremental steps. But the lower system, I believe, governs the body. Like the commenter said, it's the portal to the 3D realm, which is where we're living. So that means that we have to pay attention to our physical being in a way that's going to be responsible and respectful.
Makes sense. Yeah. Shout out to, I want to say a quick shout out to Sister Kafunya. Peace and blessings, my sister. Yes, she said we must move, and I love walking. So yeah, guys, if you can get out there and start walking, definitely get that movement going. So she's on the other platform. So that was her comment. Yeah. I mean, just the little things. For me, sometimes I'll just take the stairs. If I'm on it, I'm gonna go 2, 3, 4 flights. I'll take the stairs, and then I'll get my movement in that way.
So yeah, I mean, it's that's what the lower body is about. It's about movement. And even that's what they call when we go to the bathroom, about movement. We need
Mm.
that movement in order for our physical bodies to function. And when we're
Mm-hmm.
in our head, it's not really helping the body at all.
Mm. Because we're overthinking, overanalyzing.
Yeah, and we're not paying attention. We're detached from the body.
Mm-hmm. Daily movement is important. Let me tell you, we say this, but I'll be honest with you. People say this, but I see people rushing to work and at that desk all day, and I think what we do is we forget. We forget that we need to move. We get so, it's like, you ever been like in a trance when you're at work and you have all these projects and you actually forget. Like, I've seen people forget it's lunchtime.
I know. When I was going to work, I would forget to go to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
I would, and then I'd be like running over there because I'm so involved in a project. So it can happen easily, and there is a lot of resistance because our culture doesn't support it or sustain it. When you travel and you go to a place that's on a beach somewhere, and the people who live there, even the ones who are working you know in the hotel or whatever, their life seems so much more at ease. I'm sure they have troubles, but they have a lot more ease in themselves and in their body because their overall society is not quite as wound up as ours.
Right.
So, so part of it is breaking out of that cycle. I mean, it may not
Hmm.
be that you change your job, but it may be dealing with it differently.
Right. Right. Because not everybody's in a position to just change their jobs. Hey, James Johnson, how are you? Yeah, most days you walk 5 miles. What?
That's
You live
good.
like that, walking 5 miles. Are you telling me the truth? All right, now you gonna outwalk me. Okay. I see where we going. I see what we doing here. We gonna get a competition going? Hmm?
Yeah. What really helps is thinking of things ritually. Like ritual really helps because our world is so chaotic. But if
Mm-hmm.
you can set a ritual for yourself, let me get up a half an hour earlier just so I could move around. You don't have to go for a walk. You could put on some music and dance.
Mm.
But
Not
but
only
start creating lifestyle choices that will improve your life instead of
right,
waiting till we're sick and then our lifestyle becomes something centered around pills and surgery.
right, right. Exactly,
And
exactly.
and it's really easy to do when you're young because it's easy to avoid it when you're young because you have so much more energy when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
But you can build it in whatever age you are and see if you can start giving yourself something that's going to satisfy the needs of your physical body and your inner child. So I used to go walking. I used to do race walking and I used to go walking. But the way I made it fun is that whenever I saw a swing, I would stop and swing. And that made going to the park a lot of fun for me.
Oh my God. I have not been on the swing in so freaking long.
It
Y'all,
is
do
the
y'all
most
remember?
fun.
I know. Did you ever get on the swing and it's a term called take you up. But I don't know if everybody knows they call it take you up, but you're sitting in the swing and the person's over you and their legs are right
Oh yeah,
here and it's called
there's
take you
something
up, right? Is that another
that
term
was
for it? Am I
called.
using the wrong term?
I didn't know the term, but I know what you're talking about. especially when you're a kid. I remember that very well.
I used to love that. First of all, I never wanted to be the one sitting there because it seemed like they were going so high. But if I'm standing up over them, towering over them, like you just it's not going that high. But yeah, I think it's called Take You Up or something like that. So shout out to Sister Kafunya. She got stairs in her house, 2 flights, and she up and down the stairs getting exercise. That's another thing you could do. If you have stairs in your house, go up and down those stairs. She
Hmm.
has the rebounder. I don't know if you guys know what the rebounder is. It's like that big circular jumper. You can sit
Yes,
on it and you can jump on it.
it's like a trampoline but smaller. You
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
how the gymnasts, they jump up high and they come down and bounce up.
Yes, yes, that, and so you could use that. I mean, that presents, get the cells moving and in motion or whatever. So whatever you got
Yeah,
to do.
rebounding will move the lymph. The lymph is the part of your body that detoxes, takes all the waste out. But the lymph,
Mm.
it doesn't have a pump like the heart pumps the blood. If
Mm-hmm.
we don't move, that's why the lymph system gets congested.
Oh,
The lymph
interesting.
requires movement to function.
Mm.
And rebounding is one of the best ways to do that, because the way I understand it, because we have exercises that simulate it, and it's jumping. In the exercise, you lift your heels, keep your toes on the floor, and just pop up.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're lymphosizing, when you come up, when you reach the peak of your jump, for a fraction, your body is weightless before it comes down again. And in that fraction of weightlessness, it pumps your lymph system.
Oh,
So it's
get
very
myself. We'll get a rebounder.
beneficial for healing. Very
So hence,
beneficial.
when we were children, we were jumping rope. Same effect. And I don't see children outside jumping rope today. Is it me or am I not in the right place? I mean, everywhere I go, I don't see children outside
I
playing, really.
I was just going to say that I barely see children playing anymore. Um,
So, Pet Jeremy, he says, "Yep, I take care of kids, so I have no choice but to love. But I love it. Keeps me youthful. So, see, children keep you
yeah.
youthful. Go jump some rope, y'all, with them children.
And that's
Jump
kind
some
of
rope.
and that's what I mean about when we were talking about the sacral chakra. It's like, what
What
insights
insight?
do you get from being a child? And what can you bring back into your life from your childhood? So the thing that came to me was the swings, which is the same thing. You're pumping your body up and then
Mm-hmm.
you come down. So you're weightless
Mm-hmm.
at just before you return, your
Mm-hmm.
body becomes weightless and you're pumping the fluids in your body.
Oh. Y'all gonna see if y'all see me, I'm gonna be on the swing this summer. I'm gonna be on the swing. I'm gonna be jumping rope. I'm gonna be teaching the girls how to jump double dutch. I know how to jump double dutch, y'all. I know how to jump. You remember scotch? Is you turn the rope the opposite way. I
Mhm.
used to jump scotch. That was, man. Please, all the little songs they used to. The children, they don't do that today. They don't do that
It's
today. So I
it's
don't know
so
what's going on.
true. It's so true. Kids are totally, they almost don't have a chance because they're totally
Mm,
put into artificial environments with artificial computers and relationships on the internet. So, you think we have problems? I think they're going to have a lot of problems as they grow older, because they
mm,
become so alienated from being human. I mean, unless the kids are into sports,
right.
but they've taken a lot of that out of the schools too.
Yes. Yes, this is true. I don't know what kind of society we're going to have in the future, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I really don't know.
But, but
So,
people can offer to their children this, make. I mean, even if you can't make it a priority for yourself, make it a priority for your child.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. I agree with you 100%. Um, so in terms of working with the process of healing the sacral chakra, I have heard people do things with water, since it is sort of the chakra that's connected to the water. So anything to do with the ocean, or the sea, or even if you can't get to one of those, baths, certain bath rituals you could do. Also, in terms of creativity, participating in things that allow you to express or explore your creativity, arts, poetry, dancing, singing, sewing, writing, all of those things. Definitely touch is always good. Massage, breathing, breath work, qigong, all of that is always helpful. Some people actually connected to also eating orange foods. You have oranges, tangerines, mangoes, which can be a little yellow oranges. You have also pumpkins. Some people connected to pumpkins. If you eat pumpkins, certain crystals people
That's
use.
interesting. I heard
What?
today that pumpkin seeds are good for the prostate.
Ooh, let me tell the Tantra brothers that information. They're gonna buy all the pumpkin seeds because in Tantra it's connected to the men having the adult orgasm, because they're not the way men are having sex today, they're not having an adult orgasm. So this is why a lot of them struggle with certain levels of maturity. So the goal is in Tantra for men to have that maturity and that adult orgasm. And it has to do with the prostate and a healthy prostate that's functioning properly. So I'm going to
Mm.
let them know to get some of the pumpkin seeds and eat them. Oh, crystals. So a
Mhm.
lot of people say the carnelian crystal. Shout out to Sister Kafunya, who is on the other chat, and she sells crystals. So if you guys are looking for a crystal to assist you with working with your sacral chakra, healing your sacral chakra, reach out to Sister Kafunya, and she could definitely help you with obtaining the carnelian crystal, which helps to build confidence and it keeps you motivated. Another crystal that I actually work with, and I actually enjoy it, is a citrine crystal. And a lot of people don't work with the citrine crystal when it comes to the sacral chakra. There are like maybe 4 or 5 main crystals that people work with, but you very rarely would find someone work with the citrine. And the reason I work with the citrine is because the citrine works with all 3 of the lower chakras. And me, I'm the type of person, I'm like, let's just get it in, like, knock them all out, and just one by one. Yeah, those who know me, no, I go in. I'm a go getter, and I'm here for the ride. So with all 3 chakras, it helps to create like your dream life, to enhance creativity. It helps with clarity of thought. If you're trying to manifest something and make something happen. So citrine is my choice that I use, and carnelian is another good one. And I also do sounds for my chakras. So the sound for the sacral chakra is VAM. So that's V as in Victor, A as in Apple, M as in Mary, and it's VAM. And that's the sound. And I know we did the root chakra before. So the sound for the root chakra is LAM, and that's LAM. So you'll find that there are different sounds that you could use when you're doing different types of works. So sound, as Catherine said, is healing. So Captain, do you want to recommend anything in terms of people trying to heal this sacral chakra?
Mm. I don't have any prescriptions really, other than the breathing and the grounding. I like to pretend like I'm a tree and allow my energy to go deep into the earth and invite the earth's energy to come up both legs, meeting and the sacral like a pyramid or like a triangle, so that
Mm,
can bring the energy up through the body that way and balance it out. So, yeah, I love crystals, but I'm not an aficionado of crystals. I just sort of feel them out. Oh, I like the way that one feels, and I grab it, but I don't know why.
Right, right, right. You like you, but you feel connected to it to
Hmm.
some extent. Um, Question: do I have to be outside to ground?
No, no. Energy you could think of as being quantum and connected to your intention and awareness. So you could be anywhere, and if as you guide your chi to extend, it never leaves your body. It's like fluid again, only it's energy, and it goes to the earth, but it's quantum. So it's an immediate connection. Though I will say being on the earth is more powerful, but you could be anywhere. You could be anywhere and just think of having roots deep into the earth. You know,
Mm.
you can bring your energy into the earth, and then you open it up like roots of trees, and your energy is what's grounding you into the earth, and the earth has healing energy as well. So you
Hmm.
start to breathe with the earth and exchange that energy, and you can draw it up into your um, sacral chakra or lower dantian, as I would refer to it. It's the elixir field of the lower dantian.
Okay, so it's kind of like imagination with focus kind of thing, right? If they're not like in the
Yeah.
park or whatever.
Hmm. Or, I mean, that's one way to do it. It does take imagination if you're not in standing on the ground. But it's also good to put your feet on the ground. And
Hmm.
there's just like we're made of energy, these atoms, so is the earth. And there becomes a natural exchange with the earth's energy, and it can really help to nourish us. And in qigong, we talk about the points on the bottom of the foot. It's called yong shuan, which means bubbling well. So when we exchange our chi for the earth, there is a bridge of at least 3 feet to 6 feet, and we do the exercises to release toxins. And the bubbling well is like a higher vibrational chi that pulls out the impurities and disintegrates it back to its sort of like compost. It becomes like compost, energetic compost, and then it just gets recycled. So as we release our toxins, we have this field that will pull the toxins, disintegrate them, but it also works the opposite. So when we pull in the energy from the earth, disturbed energetics of the earth that humans put in there, probably,
Hmm.
it gets pulled out before it enters your body. So you begin to establish a pristine relationship with the earth, and the earth can really buoy you, make you feel lighter and more flexible and more upbeat. Earth energy is very powerful. So that's why I like that triangle. Your feet
Mm.
your feet are open. You would want your knees to be bent, but you think in terms of the earth chi coming up to the point of the sacral chakra. So it's like you're replenishing what's there. And you would do that through all the chakras. You could bring in cosmic, you can bring in a lot of stuff. But the idea is to ground yourself in the earth, which is the third dimension. The earth is what's creating the third dimension.
Hmm.
And the earth is part of what the energy that allowed us to form as bodies. How does the spirit
Mm.
get turned into a physical being? It's because that's what the earth does.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Yes. You're welcome, Mrs. Tate. You're welcome so much. She says thank you to you, Catherine.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah,
Um, Corey's Hollis, I'm receiving this info. Thanks, sisters. You're welcome. You're
you're
welcome.
welcome. Yeah. Yeah, I think with the chakras, we just have to understand ourselves as being so much more than physical.
Yeah,
We are we are physical beings, but we're so much more than that. And
exactly.
our stressful society causes us to detach from that reality, and we think that we're only here as physical beings dealing with physical stuff. But there's a lot that's invisible. Look, our thoughts are invisible. Our feelings are invisible. And all of those things hold energy, and that's what we truly are. That's what we
Exactly.
that's what we were before we got here, and that's what we're going to be when we move along to the other side. We're still going to be energy.
Hmm. Still be energy. We're energy now. We don't realize it,
Mhm.
but we're energy. That's what we are. So,
Mhm.
yes, I love his light beings. I appreciate you both. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
too. I'm glad you guys are getting something out of this. The intention is always to provide some information that you can walk away with that would help you and assist you and guide you in somewhere on your journey, even if it's something that you've already heard. So we always have intentions to add something additional to that to help you in your on your journey and in your growth. So with that
Yeah.
said, we are getting go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and everybody is their own master, really. We don't have to put the expertise outside of ourselves. Like you said, people can research, people can go in and examine what's happening inside of themselves. And everyone has that wisdom within them, I believe.
Exactly. You are the master of your ship, the master of your destiny, right? That's the way it goes. Some famous saying, I forgot exactly how it goes, but yeah, I consider myself to be the master of my ship, master of my destiny. So, and everyone else has that same option too. You don't have to sit and believe or have the mentality that something or someone else is in control of your destiny. You're in control of your own destiny. You have to
Yeah.
believe it.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. Um, but it helps to know who you are, so you know who's in control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because if you don't know, I know some people right now who they think they know who they are, but I could see because they copy everyone else around them that they consider to be these popular people or superstars, or they idolize them and they don't know who they are. They're not being themselves because they're too busy copying someone else. I mean, copying down to the looks, the way the person talks, the way the person dressed, meaning that they're not in touch with their own individual self and who they are. And that's very
Or
unhealthy.
like you said before, they're still operating as a child, because that sounds like a teenager to me.
Children do that. Yeah. 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 So it's very unhealthy to be an adult and to be that way. So you want to embrace who you are. Know that you are beautiful. Have confidence in yourself. Know that you're a wonderful person. Know that you are worthy and you got something to bring to the table. Don't let nobody tell you that you ain't got nothing and you're not offering nothing and you're not worthy of whatever. You are worthy. And that's
Absolutely.
that.
And everybody has their own path. Nobody's going to do the same thing. If you being true to yourself, there's not going to be two people doing it exactly the same way. So you want to find what's right for you.
Exactly. Exactly. So, guys, we are about to end this show. And I want to say thank you for being here with us this evening. And thank you for participating with your questions and your comments. I'm always happy to communicate with you guys. I'm always excited to hear what you have to say. And remember, no question is, for me at least, the way I operate, no question is considered like a dumb question or stupid question. If you're asking this question and there's a possibility that someone else may have the same question and they may be afraid or intimidated to ask that question. So step up to the plate. If you have any inquiries, if you want to know something, you're trying to learn, you're trying to expand. This is all about expansion and growth and being a better person so that we have a better community, so that I don't see the bull crap that I see going on in the community. So don't be afraid to ask questions or to inquire, or as she say, what's going on. Yes. Good night. Good night. Good night. We are getting ready. Good night. Good night. Good night, guys. Have a good night. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye. Peace and blessings.